Let's pray. Holy Father, thank you for this moment to share some insight. Thank you for the knowledge that I have to be able to share. And I pray that you use um, this channel and this video to reach people around the world that I have no idea on this side of heaven that I'll ever know. So I pray that this time is glorifying to you, because that's what this project is all about, is to bring you glory and grow your kingdom. In Jesus' name, amen. So thank you for joining me today. We're going to talk about a few different things. For the food part, we are going to talk about water glassing eggs, because eggs are so expensive right now, right? Um, uh, you you might have heard about this technique, but just not knowing how to do it, or afraid you're going to mess it up. So that's a very real concern. So let's walk through it. I uh, I just the way I water glassed eggs, I touched my mic, is I watched video after video after video after video after video, and read and read and read, until I felt confident enough that I could try it myself. So I'm going to show you what I did. If that's not the best way, I know that it works for me. Has worked for us. So I'm just going to show you what I did. So we have farm fresh eggs. Okay. You cannot do this with eggs bought from the store. Okay. So you have to use farm fresh eggs, and you have to make sure whoever you're getting them from does not rinse them. They cannot be washed. And the reason is, once you rinse off that, probably going to say all of these technical words wrong, but once you rinse off that film, that membrane, when it first comes, when the hen first lays, you open up the pores of the eggshell, and you don't want that. You don't want any of the lime water to get into the egg, because then you're not going to want to eat it, because it's not going to taste like a pickled egg. So we have fresh, unwashed eggs. Now, in the past, I'm missing a jar. No, I'm not. In the past, I've done this in a 5-gallon bucket, and I've just filled the bucket all the way up to the top. Now, there are pros and cons to that method. One of the pros is you've got a large container instead of filling up individual jars. The con to the large 5-gallon bucket is the eggs can move around and shift, even if you pack it full. And in here, they're not really going to move around that much. So in my 5-gallon bucket, some of the eggs did break. We didn't eat those, didn't use those, just tossed those away. But it actually did not spoil the rest of the eggs. And I'm going to show you one of those water glassed eggs here in a minute. For right now, let's go ahead and get started with this process. I'm going to just I've already filled some of the jars up, but I'm just going to fill this jar with eggs. And I've never done jars before. So I'm not sure if I'm going to like this method or not. But it would prevent me from opening the large 5-gallon bucket, and then only using a few eggs at a time. And I suppose if you have big hands, this is going to be difficult, but I don't have very big hands. Okay, so we have our jar. Now for the lime water, you want to use filtered or distilled water. Okay, so I've already poured most of my gallon, this is a gallon, into the pitcher, and I'll add the rest of it in a minute. You're going to add pickling lime. This is Mrs. Wages. This is, I think, one of the most popular brands of pickling lime. you're going to add that to your distilled water. And the ratio is going to be 1 ounce by weight. And that's why I have the scale per quart. So this is 4 quarts. 4 quarts is a gallon. So we are going to add 4 ounces by weight of pickling lime to the water. So let me turn this on. And my little paper plate is 0.4 ounces. And the bags are not that easy to. They don't open very wide. Okay, we're at 1.5, 2, 3, 4. Point. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. Come on, 0.4. There we go. Don't get this stuff in your eyes. Don't put it in your mouth. And you might hear whistling, by the way, behind me. That is the Instant Pot. I'm not sure if that's in the screen or not, but that's dinner tonight. And so it's not part of this process. You don't have to do anything with the Instant Pot with your eggs. That's just our roast for dinner. So I have 4 ounces of pickling lime. I'm just going to put it right into my water. And whisk it together. And the only reason I didn't put all the water in here first is because I wanted to bring the whisk. That's it. You are going to notice in the bottom of the jar, some of the lime might settle to the bottom of the jar. Don't worry about it. It's okay. I have learned, and I learned the hard way with the 5-gallon bucket, you don't have to mix it. And that's how a lot of the eggs got broken, because I would take the bucket and I would just kind of turn it to try to mix up that settled lime. You don't have to do that. So the next time I do a bucket, I think that I'll just do a gallon size bucket, just a 1 gallon size bucket. Make sure it's a food grade bucket though. All right. And now it about looks like, I wonder if you can see this. It about looks like milk. So do not dip cookies in it. You're not going to be happy. The most perfect time for water glassed eggs is 100% good. Wait a minute, 100% of the time the eggs were good at 8 months. Okay, so 8 months to a year, probably you're gonna be looking at pretty good eggs. So now you take this mixed up lime water and you just pour it over. You know what I forgot? Look at that. I told you I'd make mistakes. Pour this back in here. Forgot the rest of the water. There we go. So again, unwashed but you can buff out the um, if there's dirt on it, if there's, some of the hen poop on it. I mean, let's be real. If you got um, residue on the eggs, you can use a dry cloth to wipe that off, but but just don't rinse it. Don't wash them. All right. I'm going to completely cover the eggs. And now I know you can't see this, but on my fingers, there's it looks like I've been working with like drywall, stuff like that. So it's going to be rough on your hands. Don't, just don't let it stay on your hands for too long. And then we're going to put the lid on. And in here, they still move around, but they're less likely to break than they are in the 5-gallon bucket. So like I said, my next one that I'm probably going to try is just a 1-gallon. That scared me. Bucket. You don't have to vacuum seal these. It's not like canning. You just need they just need to be covered. If you don't have, now I've never tried this, okay, but I've heard of people that you can cover a bucket with a tea cloth, a dish towel, something like that, a clean one, um, but but you want to keep out bugs, right? So there's no bugs that are going to get in here. Um, but if someone didn't have a cover, they could put some olive oil, pour in some olive oil to their into their bucket, and that's going to settle at the top, right? That's what oil and water, and then that olive oil is going to create a layer to where nothing can get through it. Okay, so after that, I'm going to label them. So today is 3/26. Yeah, 26, 25. You're going to want to store these in a cool place. Um, the 5-gallon bucket that I have pulled out of, or the 5-gallon buckets that I have used, I put in my basement in a cool, dark area. But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't really even need to be dark. It just needs to be not out in the garage in the summer heat, basically. So I mean, anywhere from 50 to 70 degrees is really, it's going to be okay. All right. So there's your water glassed eggs. We can't, oh, and you can see right here, it's already settling in the bottom, and that's okay. You don't even worry about it. So what we're going to do now is I have an egg, a water glassed egg, and that's what the lime ended up doing to the shell, right? You can't, I've got a dog right here. Watch out. So I'm not sure if is that good? Can you see that? Okay. So this egg has actually been in that 5-gallon bucket for, don't get scared, 2.5 years. Okay. 2.5 years. So recently I popped that bucket open, and I made dinner. I made a breakfast dinner with all kinds of eggs. We scrambled the eggs, baked the eggs, fried the eggs. We used them in muffins, hard boiled them. everything really turned out great. The muffins were phenomenal, blueberry muffins. Um, the only thing that did not really turn out, it's not that it didn't turn out well, it didn't really turn out at all, was the hard boiled eggs. They were, the inside texture is going to be different, and it does not work out with hard boiled eggs. So I'm actually gonna pop this. I've already rinsed it, but because it's got the stuff on the shell, I'm gonna go ahead and crack this, and then I'm gonna step over here, and I'm not sure if that's in camera side or not, and I'm gonna wash my hands before I come back and do the rest of the egg. So one second. And to answer your question, if you really want to know how to make that roast in the Instant Pot, if it turns out well, what are you looking at? If it turns out well, then because it's a new recipe, everything's always a new recipe. Then I'll share it on the video. All right, now one of the things about water glassed eggs is the yolk, and after 8 to 12 months, the yolk is going to be okay. It's going to still be intact. But after 2.5 years, it's breaking down, right? The first test is you, and if an egg is bad, you're going to smell that the egg is bad, right? The whole rotten egg thing. This egg smells, there's no smell. There's absolutely no smell. So what we're going to do is we're going to step over here to the stovetop, and we're just going to scramble this egg up and try it. Avocado oil is my new favorite oil for pan frying anything, searing, like scrambled eggs, anything like that. It's just, I love avocado oil more than vegetable or olive oil. So I have, while that oil heats up real quick, I'm going to show you. I took out, and this is my sloppy handwriting, but I took out when we were doing the breakfast with all of the different ways to cook eggs, right? I actually took about 14 eggs, and I rinsed them all off, and I put them in a Tupperware container in the refrigerator. And every day, and I've missed a couple of days, right? But I've kept up with the amount of days. Every day I would take one egg out and crack it, smell it, cook it up, and see if it tastes bad, right? And obviously, if I get sick, I'm going to know that the eggs don't last that long. But as of right now, this was day 16 right here. And so today is day 17 of these eggs in the refrigerator. And I've not gotten sick. They don't smell bad. So we're about to have a taste test though. So like I said, you're not going to be able to have a fried egg with the yolk run, an over easy egg. That's not going to happen. I am going to put some salt and pepper on this. Now, take a look at our That's our scrambled egg. There we go. So I'm going to let this cool for 1 second, and then I'm going to give it a taste. Okay. Now, I still have lime water in here, but I'm expecting eggs again next week. So it looks like in those 4 containers, um, I've got about 7 eggs each. So I've got just under 30 eggs, and that took a half a gallon. So I'm just going to save that and put it in the refrigerator. And then next week when I get my eggs, I'll put the rest of it on there. Make sure you label that though, because if somebody came up thinking it was water or lemonade, they would be disappointed. The texture of these eggs is super soft. Again, you can't hard boil it. But other than the soft texture, they've been fine. So they're just soft. I mean, it tastes good, but they're soft like somebody was, if as if somebody had added milk to their scrambled eggs and scrambled them like that. How it makes the eggs softer, and some people think fluffier. I think that's a mistake, but the eggs taste good. All right. So what we're going to do is we have day 17 of good water glassed eggs at 2.5 years old. I'm not telling you to keep your eggs for 2.5 years. I'm just saying that's how long I waited before I went down and got them and started experimenting with them. And they're pretty good. So the next thing that we're going to talk about um, is the faith part. And so I wonder when people ask about creation, when they ask about when they question if there's so much evil in the world, if they basically question why things are the way they are. Okay, why did God decide to make the world the way it's made? Okay, I encourage people to look at it from God's perspective. Okay, um, if you were God and you wanted a family, how would you go about getting that family? How would you go about having that family? So if you were God, you could create humans and you could make them love you. But that's kind of like a robot. Um, and God doesn't want robots, right? So, and if any of you are parents, you know it's so much better when your kids show affection to you, not because they have to, but because from deep in their heart, they want to. You know, it's a whole different, you know, if I were to tell my daughter, tell me you love me, that's not real, right? But if she says it on her own, it's real. So if you were God and you didn't want to force people, you didn't want to force your children to love you, it would have to be their own decision to love you as God, okay, as their creator. And if it's going to be their decision, then they have the decision to love you, okay? They also have the decision not to love you, okay? That's the two sides of a decision. And that is called free will. And when you give someone free will, you're giving them an open, free mind. And so it's not just the free will to decide to love you as God, as their creator, or not to love you, but it's the decision, it's the free will to choose rob the store or buy from the store. Free will is free will. Giving somebody that mind um, that open mind is absolutely necessary. Uh, some people say, well, God could just take away free will, but He can't. Um, the ultimate goal for you as God would be for your children to love you and for you all to live in perfect harmony and in a perfect paradise world where nothing is ever wrong. Okay. Until we can get to, there's going to have to be a process of um, the people choosing to love you before you can put everybody in that paradise. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. But free will, um, no, not free will, predestination. Okay, some people say, well, isn't that, how does God know what's going to happen? Um, God knows everything. God knows who's going to choose Him and who's not going to choose them. And so, let's say you have a 4-year-old, or let's give an example that I know. When my daughter was 4, if I set a plate of grilled chicken and green beans and rice down in front of her, which is perfectly nutritious and healthy, um, and I also set a plate down of pizza or McDonald's chicken nuggets and fries, um, are they both going to feed her and fill her stomach? Yes. Are they both a path to getting nutrition? Yes. Is one better than the other? Yes. Do I, as her parent, know which one she's going to choose? Yes, because I know her. Um, and so that's how people want to people want to say, is it predestination or is it free will? And the answer is yes. It's both. It's absolutely both, because you have the option to choose whatever it is in life you're going to choose. That doesn't mean that God doesn't know what you're going to choose. Hang on, we have a question. Um, Free will is a reason for the things we wonder. Why does God allow this? Um, uh, and the answer does come from it comes from free will. So like I said, it's not that God doesn't is absent and doesn't know what's going to happen. God knows what's going to happen. um, and we can always change our destinies, and even if we do, God still knows what we're going to do. um, the the last thing that I want to talk about is on the financial part. And I actually want to stay on the cryptocurrency topic for just 1 second. Well, 1 second for one more video, because last time we talked about um, how crypto is kind of made up of, how it's all pieces of it's like a stock. It's like hard money, gold and silver, and it's like paper money. It's like fiat money. It's kind of a piece of those all in one. But today I want to explain how a blockchain works. Now, please keep in mind that I'm not an expert. I've only been participating in cryptocurrency for a year. Um, so, uh, is this a good? All right. So, I want you to. Um, you've probably heard the term blockchain ledger. Okay. Hi, pup. Uh, And so this is what I want you to think of it like. If you had $5,000 in your checking account, okay, and let's say that you wrote checks, you actually wrote checks, like, and some people still do write checks. Actually, I received a handwritten check today. But uh, if you wrote checks, you would have a checkbook ledger, and even if you use your debit card, you would still put things in your ledger. And not very many people do that anymore, but the principle is still the same. So if you have $5,000 and then you have a transaction and that takes your balance down to 4,700, and then there's another transaction and your balance is 4,100, and then you have another transaction and it's a deposit, and so now you're at 6,500, and then another transaction and you're at 6,200. Okay, the each transaction affects the outcome of the balance. So we can't just go in here and pick this up and delete it. You can't just disappear this, right? Without, that's not going to make any sense, right? Because it's all, the math is not going to math, okay? And the math never lies. So think about that as what you've heard a blockchain ledger to be like. So I'm going to draw you a picture of a blockchain. So let's say one transaction, actually, let's put this back in here. So let's say that this one is, there's one transaction, 2, 3, 4. And then there's another blockchain. There's another transaction. Okay. So here's number 2. And then there's another transaction. And then there's another transaction. Okay. They're all linked. Okay. Each one is linked to the last, is linked to the last, linked to the last. Okay. It kind of looks like a chain, right? And there are probably, I know that there are people out there who can explain this way better than I can. But you can't just go in here and pick this up and make it disappear, because it's a chain, okay, like a chain link fence. It's just, they're, everything is connected. Okay, now imagine these transactions. That's a train, I promise. Okay, it doesn't matter if this is Bitcoin or if this is Ethereum. Each of these transactions, okay, we can call it the Bitcoin Bitcoin transactions, and this is the Bitcoin train. Okay, all of these transactions, transaction number 1, it's going from point A to point B, wherever point B is. Okay, transaction number 2, it's going from point A to point B, a different point A to point B, but let's say it's going to travel on a train track, and that train track is going to carry your transactions from one place to another. Now the train track is the network. Okay. There are a whole handful of different networks, and just because you have a cryptocurrency doesn't mean that same cryptocurrency has a network, has a train track of its own. And if it doesn't, it's going to have to travel on another network. Okay. For example, Ethereum. A lot of cryptocurrencies travel on the Ethereum train track. Okay. But I hope that kind of helped you have a visual. I've got somebody behind the camera who's got their eyebrows like going in like this, like with a concentrating face. And so I'm not sure if I explained this very well. Now, One more thing. Um, we have a system. We have a system in the United States and all around the world called the SWIFT system, and it's how money moves from one place to another, from point A to point B. Okay, it's how the grocery store gets paid when you go to the grocery store and you use your card. You pay with, yeah, well, not when you pay with cash, but um, from your bank account to the grocery store, and it's also how China buys $300 million worth of oil from Saudi Arabia, right? They don't just write a check. It's all electronic, and it uses a system called the SWIFT system. And off the top of my head, I can't remember what all of these letters stand for. But we've had this system since the 1960s, um, and it works just fine. You think of it like sending a wire, like Western Union. Um, it costs money, it takes time, but the money eventually gets to point B, right? These networks that cryptocurrency is creating are replacing the SWIFT system. Okay, these networks, and yes, I have a favorite. These networks are faster, they're cheaper, and money is available immediately for deposit, for withdrawal, for purchases, whatever is needed. Okay, so think of it like your think of it like a Swift 2.0 or an upgrade in the money transfer system. Swift doesn't really support cryptocurrencies, and now people are starting to pay with cryptocurrencies for different things. Um, so um, I hope that that helped. Wait a minute. Society Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. That's a mouthful. All right. Um, I know that people have asked, and I don't mind doing this. Um, I am actually going to share the cryptocurrencies that I have. I am not telling you to buy them, but so many people want to know, and it's not a secret. I'm not going to put dollar amounts beside any of them, but I will tell you which ones I've chosen to participate in. And of course, you're going to see this one, Bitcoin. Okay. Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Doge. Now, I don't know that that'll ever turn into anything, but I don't believe in coincidences. And I think it's entertaining or interesting that the creator of the Dogecoin, Mr. Musk, said, oh, it's a nothing coin. And then now all of a sudden he's the head of Doge. I mean, and they're trying to create a network for it. All right. Zcash, Litecoin. Don't laugh at me for this one. Shiba Inu, Aave, Quant, AVAX. That's probably not very legible, is it? All right. Jasmine. There is actually a Swift coin. Swift coin. And um, the an interesting thing about the Swift coin is uh, the logo for the this money transfer system, um, Swift, and this Swift coin is exactly the same. So not okay. And so Jackson Palmer, Billy Marcus were the creators of Dogecoin, not Elon Musk. I'm sorry, Elon Musk was just the one talking about it. Where was I? All right, Mog coin, Cardano, which the symbol is ADA, XLM. Now, XLM and XRP have been in a lot of government documentations as far as what's going to be used by governments going forward for a lot of different things. Do your own homework on these. Don't just take my word for it. ACH, Alchemy Pay. That's what the ACH is. I'm sorry. This is Stellar Lumen is XLM, and then Onyx Coin XCN. ACH is Alchemy Pay, and that one is very interesting because when I was talking about the train tracks, you can have train tracks are networks, and so you can have a train track here and a train track here. Okay, so different networks, right? Alchemy Pay, ACH, is going to be acting like a bridge to connect the two networks in the future. So I think that one, I like the outlook on that one. Uniswap. And Songbird. Digibyte. Now, this one, I'm going to put a little asterisk beside. I actually own the derivative of Digibyte and the actual crypto Digibyte. And those are two different things. Okay. And derivatives are a whole nother video. I lost my place. XDC. I know I'm standing in front of all the symbols now. Flare. H bar. I cannot tell you how many times I've been asked, Alexis, do you have H bar? Chainlink. Algo. CN. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh. Sprat. All right. Those are the ones that I currently hold. Now, I am also in the process of getting Bad AI, Block V, and I have not made up my mind about Edge yet. Man, my writing is terrible. So there you have it. That's everything that I have. And I wouldn't have it if I didn't expect. Wait a minute. I had to be very careful. I had to choose my words carefully, okay? Just like nobody comes in and sits down in my office and says, I expect to lose money. That's my goal. I don't put money into any kind of stock, cryptocurrency, any kind of investment with the expectation or with the goal of losing money. So I'm not telling you to buy these. Do your own homework. And if you feel like they have a use case, like I was just talking about ACH, right? If you feel like that they have an actual utility that is going to be a beneficial contributor to the financial industry, then make your own choice. I will tell you, I don't think it's very fruitful to put things into cryptocurrencies that are just alternative coins and have no function, like a Trump coin, for example. Okay, Trump coin doesn't do anything. So I hope that this was helpful. These are, again, not guarantees. I am interested in what other people own. So if you want to share that in the comments, um, uh, and you guys have a great day. And I appreciate you watching. See you later.